Hello, and thank you for tuning in again to another episode of CivilianTacticalWeapons.com. Today we're actually going to we're going to be covering the FS2000 and ways of breaking it down and cleaning it. What we're going to be doing here is breaking this down. Keep in mind this does take a little bit longer to do than an AR. On the flip side is this actually is a lot easier to, it's actually something you wouldn't have to clean quite as much though. So what we're going to go and do is first of all, we don't have a magazine here, so the magazine's clean. We're looking out the back. Checking the bolt, nothing's inside. And now what we're going to do is go ahead and break this gun down. So from that standpoint, we're going to go ahead and push this right here, push that through, and that'll allow us to break the two parts, break the two main components. So we pulled the upper off, and then we're also going to go ahead and pull out the whole bolt carrier. So now what we're going to do is actually go ahead and break this gun down a little further. So what we're going to do is actually go ahead and cover the gas portion up here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and first, if we're looking at it from the back of the gun, we're actually turning this counterclockwise, one little notch. I'd say maybe about a quarter of a turn. We're going to use the special tool they provide to push down on this little button area here. And you can push down on it just slightly, and that lets you rotate this hole out. We're going to go ahead and pull this out, and then there's a plunger in here, and the way you get the plunger is the same tool you use to just move that little notch. You're going to drop it down like that, and you're going to use your whole bolt carrier to just push it out, and that's how the plunger is. They refer to this as the plunger. You'd go ahead and clean this down just as you would any other components. I'd go ahead and take some solvent, strip this thing down, strip it down a little bit. You could use just some regular gun oil, to be honest with you. There's not really that much stuff in here. After you've taken that apart, I'm not going to cover the actual cleaning of the barrel. It's the same thing as an AR. You're going to run a snake through it, clean it. What I do want to cover is actually the bolt carrier itself, since this is actually a little bit more complicated. I normally do this from the other side, but in order for the camera to see it, I'm doing this a little backwards, but it's easier to see. You go ahead and lift this. There's a little spring in the back here. What you're going to do is lift this with your finger, just up a hair, and that's going to be able to pull the firing pin out. After you pull the firing pin out, you're going to go ahead and take the bolt and slide the bolt back a bit. Now what we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this just a hair. And keep in mind this is not the easiest thing to do. We're trying to rotate it, there we go, rotate 90 degrees. And at this point, you can pull it straight out. And now you can actually pull the bolt out. Cleaning the bolt is the same thing you clean an AR. This is where the majority of your dirt and your attention should be when you're cleaning out, this whole upper portion of it. Cleaning your barrel. You want to make sure this is very wet. A wet bolt by itself is going to help you maintain a pretty solid gun. As far as breaking this bolt down any further, you can. I'm not going to cover in this segment. It's not really that required, to be honest. But as you can see, even after shooting at the range a few times, this is still actually a pretty clean bolt. So what we're going to do is, what you want to do is make sure it's facing upright. You can tell by the little, the dark black part on the top of here is actually facing up. And then what you're going to do is slide that back in here. That little part we had a second ago, we need to go ahead and drop in here. So you need to line these up just right, and also kind of lift this little weight part up so he'll drop right in there. There, it's in. After it's dropped in there, you then rotate it 90 degrees so that the grooves are lined up with the top here, and now I'll actually just spring like that. Take your firing pin, put it back right up in here, and the bolt's reassembled. All I gotta do is actually go ahead and drop this right into the little receiver. Make sure this is all the way out. Go ahead and close that up. You're going to slide this all the way to the rear, like that. Make sure it's in there tight. We're going to go ahead and reassemble the gas portion up here. So remember, take this tool out first before you assemble it. Drop the plunger in here first, like that. And the plunger will actually go in a little further when you go ahead and put the cap on. You're going to push it in like that and then just rotate it. The tool that you have, you'll push down that little small little button, the same thing we use to disassemble it, just down a hair. It'll close like that. And then now what happens is the forearm down here has these little notches. You want to line those up with the notches in here. And it's reassembled. As you can see, it's nothing near like an AR, so I mean it's drastically different. If you've cleaned ARs before, the FN is definitely a different beast in itself. However, like I said before, it stays incredibly clean compared to an AR. So as far as how often you would have to clean it, if you're a person who doesn't like to clean guns, this may actually be a good gun for you. However, when you do have to clean it, you may be cursing the day you bought this because it is difficult to break down and clean. But all being said, it's an excellent rifle. And remember, if you have any questions, please email me at info@civiliantacticalweapons.com. And I hope to see you in a future episode.